Hey mamas, welcome back to episode 4 of the Mom Goals podcast, and I am Camry. I'm so excited about today's message. Today we are talking about a major key that you cannot be better. You cannot be all that God has called you to be without this one thing. So let's go ahead and jump into it. If you are listening to Mom Goals, I have a feeling that 9 times out of 10, you want to be better. You want to do better. You want to be a better mom. You want to be a better woman overall. So you have come to the right place. Mom Goals is for you. And this episode especially is for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I have to start this off though by telling y'all what just happened. Now, to let y'all in on how I do this, I don't like to get in front of the camera. I don't like to get on, even on Instagram, social media. Like, I don't like to do anything until I consult with God. Like, I always want a fresh revelation. I want to know what he's saying and what he would have for me to speak. Okay. And so I thought I had a message prepared. Like, I had been studying on something and I thought that was what I was supposed to be talking about, but it didn't work out because as I was sitting here looking through my notes, I'm like, this message isn't giving what it's supposed to give. Like, it wasn't hitting in my spirit the way I felt like it was supposed to. So I'm like, okay. So I went to, I had to go to my prayer closet. I didn't feel like it because I'm like, man, I thought I knew what I was talking about. And I just want to go ahead and get started. But apparently God had other plans. So I went to and y'all, hold up real quick. Stay with me on this, okay? Because I have to tell this story. I have to give y'all what led up to this message. It is so important, okay? So I go to my prayer closet. I'm going to my closet. As I walk into my closet, I heard the Holy Spirit say, turn the light off. Now, mind you, it's dark. Okay. It's nighttime. I'm already tired. And I'm like, I don't need to be in here in the dark. And my closet is not very clean. So I cannot see. I need to be able to see because where my prayer closet is the back of my closet. It's like a little cutout. So when I get into the actual prayer closet, it is going to be even darker. Like, I won't see, there won't be any light, and there's no light because my bathroom light isn't on and my room light isn't on. So there's no light source coming from anywhere. So I'm just like, God, is this you talking or am I just being crazy? Like, why do I need to cut the light off? But anyway, I just cut the light off. I'm like, okay, let me cut the light off. And then I get on my hands and knees and I crawl to the prayer closet because I'm scared because I'm like, I don't want to trip over anything. There's stuff on the floor. I need to clean my closet. Like, this too much. I'm pregnant. I got a whole baby in my stomach. I can't be risking falling and tripping over stuff. So I was like, I'm going to crawl. And as I was crawling into the prayer closet, I started to feel like a victim. Like, I'm just pregnant and my stomach is huge and I'm not this is so uncomfortable. And then I just felt like someone was like, girl, will you be quiet? And who do you think you fooling? Seriously, if God told you to do something, it's for a reason. If it was not a mistake that he told you to do this. And if he told you to do it, he's going to make sure that you get there in position safely you won't be harmed because you're doing what God called you to do. So I'm like, okay, all right, let me stop making myself the victim. I had to pray. God indeed gave me a revelation. He is always faithful. If I'm supposed to be getting in front of the camera, if I'm supposed to be posting a video, God is going to give me a word regardless. I know he is. He's always going to show up, and he did. And once, like literally immediately when I was done praying, somebody, I don't know if it was my husband or one of my girls, somebody was in, one of them were in the bathroom and they cut the light on in the bathroom. And then all of a sudden I could see. Like, it was so convenient. Okay, y'all, it's a fly in here and I can't get up and kill it. Somebody let a fly in the house. So just, if you see the fly, just ignore it, okay? I'm going to try to ignore it, but it's bothering me. It is. Okay, anyway. So, I had to tell that story because it lined up so much with what God had even given me revelation about. And when I was getting out the closet, the Holy Spirit was like, yeah, you're going to tell this story. And I'm like, I don't get it. I had to sit down and actually think, how does this relate to the message for today? But he also brought back to my memory about Abraham. So anyway, so today what we are talking about is faith. Okay. We are talking about faith. Faith is a huge key to becoming better, to walking in your purpose, to walking in identity, and just being all that God has called you to be, being the mom that God has called you to be. You need faith. Without faith, girl, I don't know. Like, I don't think that you can get anywhere in life. I don't think you can get anywhere that really matters if you don't have faith. Okay. And we are trying to be mom goals, right? We're trying to reach a goal. And the only way for us to reach that place to where we know God is calling us is to have faith. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, so I hope you stuck with me through that story because it's I'm going to come back to it, okay? I'm going to come back to it. So in Genesis 22, y'all know the story in the Bible, right? When God told Abraham to go and sacrifice his only son, Isaac. Okay. I'm not going to read the whole thing. If you would like, I want to encourage you to go to Genesis 22 and read that entire chapter. It's so good. Every time I read it, I feel like God gives me a new revelation. So let me just give you the Cliff Note version of it. Okay. God told Abraham to go and sacrifice his son, go to the mountain. Number one observation in this verse, when God told Abraham to go to this place, he did not give him the specific place. He said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. So he didn't even give him the exact mountain that he was going to. He said, you're going to go to this region. I'm going to give you a region to this place. I'm not going to tell you which mountain, but you're going to have to be listening to me. You're going to have to be listening closely because I'm going to tell you which mountain you need to sacrifice him on. Number one. Number two, I didn't realize this, but it took Abraham 3 days to get to the place that God had called him to go to. You telling me for 3 days, if God tell me to do something as crazy as sacrifice my only son, imagine what a 3-day journey would have been like. I think if we can be honest, a lot of us would have given up. Like, I would have been like, you know what? This crazy. I'm about to go back home. Come on, son. We going back because all that time, 3 whole days, you got to have some real faith in God to travel 3 days knowing that you're about to give up your only son. That is amazing. First of all, I want to have that kind of faith. So that's what happened, right? And I'm going to tell you give you 4 keys of what God, the revelation that God has given me when it comes to faith. Okay, so number 1, you need to be in position to hear from God. What does that look like? What position is that? You need to be in a position of surrender. The only way you can really, really, truly hear from God is when you are in his presence and when you have created, when you have created an altar, a sacred place for where you can go to God. You have your word. You are in your word, because that's the best way to hear from him. You don't know what God sounds like if you haven't read his word. So get in position. Get to where you can hear God. Your position also God may be calling you to move from where you are. He may be telling you to get away from certain people, because sometimes things are so loud. Our environment is so loud that we cannot hear God. The Lord wants us to get away from the noise. He wants us to get in a position to where we can hear him clearly. That means silencing all of the outside noise, all of the chatter, and getting in a quiet place. What is the outside noise? It's people. It's not even just people, but just moving around, busyness, doing unnecessary things, chasing after things that God has not called us to, like chasing after unnecessary stuff. Like, that's noise. We have to get in position. If we know something is clouding our judgment, if we know something is is causing us to not be able to hear God, it is our job to say, you know what? No more of this. I need to go to a place, just like Jesus did. Every time Jesus needed to hear from the Lord, he isolated himself. And I don't know who this is for, but maybe God is telling you, for a season, I need you to isolate yourself so that you can hear me. I need you to get away from everybody. I need you to go to a quiet place, because God has something so specific and so important that he's trying to speak to you. Okay. So that's number 1. So number 2, the power is not in your feelings, but in your action. So remember, I told you in the closet, I started to have that feeling of, oh, woe is me. I'm pregnant. I shouldn't have to be crawling on this floor and risking getting hurt in the dark. And oh, woe is me. Yeah, I put myself in the victim seat. A lot of us do that. We make ourselves the victim. We get frustrated in our current circumstances, and we let our feelings dictate what we do. Now, you are human. We are fallible. We are going to feel. I don't care how spiritual you are going to have feelings, okay? We wouldn't be human if we didn't. But the thing is that we don't always have to act on our feelings. So if you're afraid, it's okay to be afraid. But let your actions show your faith. Like, your faith is in the action, not in the feeling. Your actions tell who you believe in. Do you believe God? Regardless of how you felt. I'm pretty sure that when Abraham was going to sacrifice his son, I'm sure he felt grieved. I'm sure he felt some type of way. He's human. But what did he do? The power is in what he did. He journeyed 3 days. Mama, what are you willing to do? What lengths are you willing to go to get to where God has called you to? Out of obedience. Let your faith Let your faith guide you. Okay. Back to my little story at the beginning. Even though I was feeling some type of way, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just do what God said, regardless. Because at the point that I am in my walk with God, I know when he's speaking. That don't change the fact that I don't want to do it. I can still be stubborn sometimes. But I'm like, I feel like at this point, I don't have a choice. Because I am in a position to where I'm so far away from my comfort zone. So far away from my comfort zone. That I have to depend on God. I have to. And if I don't, then I might as well give up everything. And it is so important. It's just so important for us to realize that it's so important for us to realize that we need him. We need him. And in order to be closer to him, we have to believe, even when we don't see it, even when we don't understand. So that brings me to my next point, number 3. Stop looking to understand everything, okay? God is not always logical. Was there really any logic? Like, was it logical for me to go in the closet and turn off all the lights? No. And I'm sorry, this story is not super like attractive. Like, this is not like some great story. I wish it could have been more grand, but out of obedience, I had to share it, right? But anyway, the story, it didn't make sense. Cutting lights off. Bringing my notebook. I normally don't always bring my notebook, but there was something else the Holy Spirit had told me to do. Doing all that stuff, it didn't really make sense to me. I didn't understand. I didn't even understand why I had to go in my closet and pray when I had already had a message that I thought was from God, that I thought, okay, this is a really good message. But God is not always like, we have to get out of that mindset of thinking that it has to make sense. It has to be logical. Because sometimes God will call you to do something that is crazy to the human eyes, to the world. It's going to be crazy. It don't make sense. It didn't make sense for Abraham to travel 3 days to kill his son, the son that God promised him. That son was that was like his heir. What was he going to do if he killed Isaac? No logical sense. So stop looking for understanding. Your faith does not depend on any understanding. Like, you don't need to understand. Faith says, I'm going to do it regardless because I know that this is God. And I'm willing to suffer whatever consequences I think may happen or whatever it is, but I know that God has me. So, yeah, this don't make sense, but I'm going to do it. Okay? That's what you need to be doing. Move regardless of how much sense it makes. Okay? And then number 4, the point, or I asked the question, are you willing to give up the big things? This is major right here. This is big. Are you willing to give up big things? Like, are you willing to sacrifice your own children? Now, I'm not talking about sacrificing them, putting them on the altar and killing them. No, I'm not talking about like that. I'm saying, are you willing to give up the plans that you have for your kids? Are you willing to give up control? Do you have enough faith to say, you know what? I know this is what I want, but God, these are your children. Because in a sense, God has called us to give up our children. They don't belong to us. They belong to him. And I know for me, that was one of the hardest things that I felt like I've had to do when it comes to my kids. It's just to say, God, I have to give them to you. Like, I want to control everything that happens so bad. Because I love being a mom. I love just being able to be in control. And God is like, no. If you truly say you trust me, if you really trust me, can you give me the most precious things in your life? Can you sacrifice and surrender all your plans, all your desires, everything that you want or you thought that you want, your dreams, your goals? Are you willing to give up your comfort zone? Are you willing to get uncomfortable for me? Because that is where the power is when you say, you know what, regardless of what I thought I wanted, and it's going to take some time, mama. It's going to take some time, especially when it comes to your kids. I know you want to be better. And it seems contradictory, right? Because every mom wants to see their kids succeed. And we feel like, okay, I have to do this, this, and this, and this, and that. And I got to be this way, and I got to do it this way, and I got to do this, that, and this, and that, and this, and that. We got these long lists of how we're going to raise our kids and what we're going to do. And when God is like, tear that list up. Nah. Okay, so like for me, I thought my kids, it was God that called me to homeschool. And so since I have been homeschooling for so long, I have gotten into this control. I've gotten into this really bad habit of wanting to control everything because my kids are at home. Nobody tells me what to do when it comes to them. I make all the decisions. I don't have to have a school system to tell me how to teach my kids. Like, I am literally, with homeschool, I am in control. But then when God called me to stop, I'm like, hold up. Now, this is hard. This is difficult. It was like I felt like my heart was being snatched from me, like my whole identity. Like, God, no, these are my kids. God's like, no, how much do you trust me? Even with everything happening in the world, with all of the gun violence in the schools, the school shootings, the bullying, there are kids committing suicide. Like, there is so much that goes on in the school system. And I'm like, God, is you telling me, like, my kids have been safe here. You're telling me now to go send my kids out, or not my kids, only Cade. The girls are doing public school online. But I'm like, God, so you telling me to stop homeschooling to send my child into a war zone? How does that make sense? How? And again, it's not logical, right? Because I'm like, he's getting everything he needs, I think. Like, why do I need to give up my control? He's safe. He's safe with me. But God is like, no. If you say you trust me, you need to put him in school. Don't worry about the what ifs. I am with him. I will be with him every single day, but you got to trust me. I know it's uncomfortable, but you got to trust me. And so, mama, what is it that you are holding on to that God is saying, let go? Do you trust me? Is it your finances? Is God asking you to sow a seed? Or is God asking you to invest in something? Is God giving you instructions to invest, doing something that is going to cost you money? Maybe starting that business is going to cost some money, but you are so holding so tightly onto something that God is, he owns this place. We be sitting up here acting like our Heavenly Father, he broke. You don't have a broke daddy. I don't care what your earthly daddy have. Our daddy in heaven, he got it made. He holds the world in the palm of his hand. So there is nothing that we should be holding on so tightly that we don't want to give up. Like he can give it back 100-fold. It's nothing. So the things that we see as so precious and so important, and we just want to hold so tightly onto these things, in the eyes of God, those things are so small. And he understands that these are big to us, but he's saying, no, I need to get you into the place to where you are trusting me with everything, with the most precious things that you possess. Do you trust me with them? Do you trust me enough to give it up? That is the question. Do you trust God enough to give up the most precious things that you have? Your family, your marriage, your kids, your business, your money. How much do you really trust God? How much faith do you have? That's the question. And I want to see that show up in your actions, not your feelings, because it won't feel good. You're going to be crying. There's going to be days that you probably cry. That 3-day journey to that mountain that Abraham had to take wasn't easy. And when we take that journey of faith, when we say, okay, I'm stepping out on faith, and God, I'm going to follow you and do what you told me to do. I'm going to be obedient. It will not be easy. So do not get caught up. Please, mama, do not get caught up in thinking that when you start to obey God, that your life is going to be rainbows and butterflies, because let me tell you, it is not. You will go through a storm. But let me tell you how faith works. Your faith says, although I'm walking through a storm, although I am in a season of being uncomfortable with unfavorable circumstances, I know that God is with me. So I'm going to continue to put one foot in front of the other. And just as I was in that closet praying, once I had did what God told me to do, once I had obeyed him, God revealed, he gave me revelation, right? Once I got what I needed, the lights cut on. My vision was clear. I didn't have to fumble around in the closet. I easily got up and came out of my little hole, because it's my prayer closet is like a little hole, like it's like a little hideout place. I don't know how to explain it, but I emerged with better vision than what I went in there with. Oh my goodness. Y'all, God is good, because I honestly, like, that was just a new part of the revelation that I'm getting now. I came from my little hole. I crawled in there. It was dark. I couldn't see jack. I couldn't even see my hand in the front of my face. That's how dark it was. But after I had obeyed, God had given me the revelation, I was able to come out with vision. That's a word right there. That's a word. And so, mama, I don't know. I don't know how long I've been recording right now, because Isaiah is taking care of Cruz, so he can't tell me. I normally ask, like, hey, how much time have I been talking? So I don't know how long I've been talking, but I want you to understand that this faith walk is not going to be uncomfortable, but I can assure you that you will see miracles. You will get to experience the promises of God when you start to move in faith, when you start to believe God more than you believe in your circumstances, or more than you believe in your feelings. Like, God is way more realer than our feelings. Okay. Now, what the enemy does is that the enemy only has access to our feelings. He does not have access. The enemy does not have access to what we do. Like, he cannot control your legs and your body. He cannot have access to your free will. You still have the ability to do what God is calling you to do, because God's not going to call you to do something that you don't have the actual ability to do. So are you willing to relocate? Are you willing to get up and move out of your current position, out of your current situation, your lifestyle? Are you willing to get in a place to hear God better? And let me tell you about Abraham. Hold on. So, out of Abraham's faith and his obedience, he was able to get to the place that God had already predestined for him. No, he didn't understand what was at the mountain. He didn't understand all that God had for him. But once he obeyed, once he got there, that is where God's promises was. So remember, we're in Genesis 22, verse 16. It says, and said, I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done, it says that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies. Okay. So basically God said, because you obeyed me, because you had faith in me, because you were willing to give up something that was the most precious thing that you have, because you were willing to do that, this is your promise. Here is your blessing. So in order to get to that promise, in order to get to the blessings and the miracles, it is going to require your faith and your obedience. Your transformation is depending on your faith. Your kids being saved depends on your faith. You experiencing true reformation and transformation, that is depending on your faith. Your marriage being whole. Your marriage being whole, that is depending on your faith. Oftentimes we want to just sit in one spot and we expect God to move while we just sitting there. We sit here and say, God, please do it for me, Lord. But we never are willing to just get up and say, God, what is it that I need to be doing? Show me where I need to go, and I'm willing to walk wherever you tell me to go. Instead of just sitting there and expecting God's blessings to come, what he is saying is, get up. I need you to follow me, because your blessings are not right here. They all the way over there. But I need you to get up and I need you to walk to where I'm calling you to. And it's not just so that you can get to the blessing, but there's things that God is trying to build in you, that he's trying to do in your life. He's trying to work on your character. When you take the faith walk, and there's going to be many faith walks, okay? It's not just one. Oh, you're going to have many. You're going to have some big ones and you're going to have some little ones. Like that situation in my closet, that was a little faith walk, okay? That was little. But there are some big things that I have gone through and that I will go through in the future that is going to require me to get up and say, okay, just like I was in the dark and I was on my knees crawling, but I had to feel for where I was going. And I'm like, I don't know where I'm at. I can't see, but God, I got to trust you to get to this place. You're going to be in the dark. It's okay. You're going to experience hard times, but it is going to be okay. All I'm telling you is to get up, move, and trust God with your children. Trust God with your family. Trust God with your life. Do not let fear control you. Don't let the current climate of our society cause you to miss out on what God has for you. At this point, there are so many ways for us to die. Okay. COVID is just one of a billion ways, but somehow COVID has become the forefront of our minds. Now is monkeypox. Seriously, we have so many diseases. You get in the car every single day, your life is at risk. So does that mean that we don't need to go get in the car and go to our jobs and go to and do the things? We don't need to go run errands or anything. We might as well just stay in the house and do nothing. It is so crazy how a lot of believers have allowed these things that like God is in control. My life is in God's hands. But as Christians, a lot of us allow fear to really take deep root in our hearts. And that everywhere we look, all we see is, oh, I don't want to get COVID. Oh, now I don't want to get monkeypox. Oh, But God is so much bigger than this stuff. Remember, y'all, He is our daddy. He owns everything. And listen, now I know there's levels to faith, okay? I know there are levels. But here is how I feel about it. I have surrendered to God's will. Every single day I say, God, I want your will to be done, not mine. So if it's God's will that my time is up on this earth, then sis, I'm about to be in heaven. Okay. I'm about to be partying with the angels. That was a line in Aha, Gazelle. I don't know if you know him. He's a rapper. Okay. That was so random. He said, I just want to party with the angels. I don't have no angle. I'm cool with, I forgot the lyrics, but anyway, okay. I digress a lot. I didn't do it as much today though. I'm proud of myself. Anyway, but if God say it's time for me to go, then bye. I will see y'all later. Because guess what? Nobody on this earth needs me more than God does. And there is nothing that I can do for anybody on this earth that God can't do for them. But I know it's levels. Okay. I might have just went over so many people's head. Like y'all probably like, oh my gosh. Oh, that's going too far. No. But at some point, your faith got to be so strong that not even death scares you anymore because you are in the will of God regardless. That's real faith. Abraham was willing to kill his son, the only son that he had. It was a blessing from God. He was willing to give that up. Death is not even the end. So anyway, I don't know why I keep talking about this, why I'm saying this and how the COVID stuff, I didn't even plan to bring that up, but mamas, it's okay to be scared. But I want to challenge you to write out a list of things that you right now are feeling like, oh, I couldn't give this up. Oh, I love this so much. Sometimes it's even a hobby. Like write down some stuff, write down the things that you love so much that will be hard for you to give up. Now, I don't believe God is not going to tell us to just give up everything. You know, like I'm not saying everything that you love, give it up. No. But I want you to pray. Ask God, is this for you? Is it not for you? Some of y'all need to give up food. You want to know one of the best things that I could have ever done that has helped me grow in my faith is fasting. Because food is like, we need food, right, to survive. When you willing to turn down your plate for God, oh my gosh, the power in fasting, y'all, it's amazing. The power in doing that and turning things down, the power in saying no to something that you love, the power in letting go, being generous with our money, giving, sowing seeds. That takes faith. You don't have to like doing it. But what faith says is that, you know what? No matter how bad this hurts, no matter how much this hurts me, I am going to do it because, God, I trust you more than my feelings. And I want you to watch and see how God moves. I want you to just, I pray right now that God, first of all, softens your heart so that you can receive all of this, because this is important. Even though this message was not perfectly put together, it was not pretty, but this needed to be said. God gave me this for a reason. So, Mama, if you listening to this, I wholeheartedly believe it's not by chance, but this is a word that God is trying to get to you. And so I pray right now that God softens your heart, that he opens your ears, he opens your ears and your eyes so that you can clearly see him. You can clearly hear him. In the name of Jesus, I speak that over you right now. And I pray that God gives you the boldness and the courage to just say yes to him, to follow him, to listen for his direction, and just for you to just go just like that. And that as you begin to follow God, as you begin to just follow his lead, you will begin to see miracles, signs, and wonders in a way that you never have seen before. You will see transformation in a way that you have never seen before. The things that God is doing in this season, I cannot even begin to describe. I don't know everything. I do not know everything. I don't understand everything that God is doing, but I know that he is doing something and that he is preparing us for something. I know that God is needing you to get into position because that's where your purpose is. He needs you to get into your purpose. It is so important right now for us to be exactly where God has called us. I said it in the last episode. I'm saying it again. Get in position. The way you get in position, faith. Your obedience takes faith. Do it now. Stop waiting. I'm thanking God right now. And even before I cut this camera on, I was thanking God. I wanted to just stay in his presence so bad because God was just showing me the things that he is doing for you. And I'm talking to you right now. And I don't know how many yous I'm talking to, but you, if you are listening, God has already showed me the things that he is about to do, the amazing things that he is about to do in your life. And I am excited. I am praising God. I'm clapping my hands. I'm like crying out as if I know who you are. Like, I feel like I know you. I can't wait for God to do. I can't wait. I'm excited. And I need you to get excited. And I need you to be saying, okay, God, here I am. Where do I need to go? I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm so sorry if I rambled a lot. But what I said, what needed to be said. This ain't gonna be pretty. It's probably not gonna be perfect. I don't care. I'm being obedient. This is what faith looks like. But I pray that this message has blessed you. Let me know if this message resonate with you at all. Also, make sure you send this to another mama. We have to share the love. If this message blessed you, 9 times out of 10, it's going to bless somebody else. So make sure you share it. If you are listening on the podcast, write me a review. I don't really know how the podcast platform works, just to be quite honest. Okay. I think you can write a review. Give me 5 stars if you love it. And if you are on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and like this video. Comment. I want to hear from you. Let me know, how did this resonate with you? And tell me, what are you going to give up? What is it that you feel God is calling you to give up? Sacrifice. Give to Him. What is that thing? And I need you to write down. This is not something that you have to share, but I need you to make a contract. Thank you so much, God, because this was something that, man, thank you, Holy Spirit. Okay. I need you to make a contract. I need you to go type it out. Your name, will do X, Y, and Z, whatever it is that God put in your heart. Write out a contract and sign it. Because I want you to be committed to faith. I want you to be committed to obedience. I want you to be committed in this season to doing exactly what God has called you to do, not going against it. Okay. And one of the best things one thing that you can do that helps tremendously is writing out a contract. Put it up somewhere where you can see it, so you are reminded that you have made this promise to yourself and you need to keep it. You've made this promise to God and you need to keep it. Don't go back on your word. If you need to have somebody to hold you accountable, also, you need to have somebody else to read this contract and then they sign it. And so that they're committed to helping you move and that they see it through, that they hold you accountable. Oh, didn't you say you were going to do this? Did you do it? Do that, y'all. That's the homework. Okay. All right. Well, I love you guys. I love y'all. I hope this message blessed you, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.